Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans all around the world, I'm what you need. We're going to talk boxing today. Now, I did vote yesterday, and the results of the elections was that the governing political party that was in power came back to power, but they did lose one of their seats and one of their advantages, which for me really indicates the situation in my local country, which is a good thing to some degree. It just means the people spoke and kind of said, well, you guys need to stay in check. At the same time, I do believe that the ridiculousness of the claims of the opposing party, I don't know how people can buy into that, but it is what it is. We're going to talk about boxing, and as you can see from the title, shout out to whoever is looking at this video. The boxer was winning the fight, but you got to throw a but in there. It means wishful thinking. They didn't win the fight. I've heard people speak about Amir Khan talking about how he's outboxing this guy, and so what does it matter if you lost the fight? What does it matter? Unless you were robbed, which is not the case, because most times Amir Khan gets knocked out or he's being walked down. What does it matter? So I want to talk to you guys about game plan in boxing, a little bit about game plan, and understanding why game plan is more important than how things appear, especially to us as casual fans. So I want to talk a little bit about that. You guys feel free to discuss with me in the chat section because this is what you need, not what I need. And we share it together and we learn. Sometimes I don't know what you know, and what you know might be important for what I need. So let's get into it. First things first, game plan. If you do not know the game plan of one fighter or another fighter going into a fight, because maybe you don't know the style of the fighter or what they bring to the table, their tools, and so you can't really predict what a fighter would be doing in a fight, you can just watch the fight and see the game plan. You must be able to see both boxers and what they're doing. If you're too partisan and you can only see one point of view, you're not going to see the fight and appreciate it for what it is. Let me give you an example of what I mean. So I was watching at Pernell Whitaker versus Juan Nazario. And Juan Nazario is known as an inside fighter. He's rough and he's rugged. And he does all kinds of things to win a fight. He'll bite you. He uses his forearm to hit you in the face with his forearm. He's rough and rugged. He'll butt you. He comes in rough and rugged. And in that fight, Juan Nazario against Pernell Whitaker, Whitaker was landing some really nice, in the first round, he was landing some really nice body shots. Really nice body shots. Juan Nazario comes in with a high guard usually, and he's walking to you like this. However, if you were not paying attention to Juan Nazario and what he was doing, because he's a southpaw and Pernell was a southpaw, it's two southpaws facing each other. If you weren't paying attention to what Juan Nazario was doing, then it really doesn't it doesn't give you the idea of what Pernell Whitaker was doing. Juan Nazario started to come off his jab. He was falling short with his jab, but he was still trying. And it was a battle of jabs for a minute or so, which Pernell would not so much pop the jab, he throw more the left hand and a lot of body shots. But in the end, Juan Nazario started going to Pernell's body whenever he could get the chance. And he landed two really good body shots in the first round. Now, this fight didn't last more than a round, okay? Pernell continuously was turning Juan Nazario. When they get on the inside, Juan Nazario tried to make it physical. as is his style. And he was trying to rough up Pernell, but Pernell would negate that by going low. So, for example, if a guy's rough and rugged, and you know he uses his forearm as a weapon as well as his fist, what you do is you try to get under his punches. I've said this in boxing, simple things work. And one of the simple things you want to do in boxing is, just because of how our body mechanics is, our feet are below our hands. If you dip below punches or you roll under punches, right? Or you bob and weave, it's harder for somebody with a torso up high to get at somebody down below. You get more force going downwards, but it's still harder to get to that target. So Pernell would dip under his shots, and that kept Nazario from using his forearm, because when he throws a punch, all of this blade hits you. Okay, and he comes in with his head. So Pernell was able to do that. Now, if you were not paying attention to what Juan Nazario was doing, and you were just looking at Pernell, it would look like it was an easy fight, but it was not an easy fight. You see? Because Pernell had to get out the way of elbows, head. Once he got on the inside, he had to expect roughhousing, holding, and hitting, all of that. Rabbit punching, everything, the whole works. Even biting, because Nazario had bitten Rosario fight before. So anyway, the point is, you must watch what both fighters are doing. That way you understand the game plan of one fighter, and you also understand the game plan of the other fighter. See, once you understand the game plan of both fighters, now you can watch the fight, because now you can judge the fight fairly. Okay? I'll give you another example, one that everybody knows. Canelo Alvarez versus Amir Khan, right? In Canelo Alvarez versus Amir Khan, Khan was more trying to outbox Canelo on the outside. So his thing was to pivot around Canelo and throw very quick, sharp, fast shots. Hold on a second. We got somebody in the chat section who just said something. A guy named Cal Blundell says, "Stop lying to the fans. You're talking to yourself, dude." I'm not too sure what you mean, bro. To be honest with you, I don't know what you're talking about. But keeping it moving. So Canelo, what he was doing was, his game plan obviously was to slow down Amir Khan. So he was trying to throw most of his shots to the body. If he gets some headshots available, he'd go for them. But for the most part, he'd go to the body. Hold on a second. Cal Blundell says, "You've been lying on the LDBC for months. You're a fraud." Who is this dude? And why are you being disrespectful on my channel? You're free to say whatever you want to say. I don't even know who you are. I don't even know what you're talking about with LDBC. So if you're going to talk to me, explain yourself or something, right? Because this video is about boxing. All right? And if you want to hate, that's your problem. You know, maybe you have issues in your personal life and you want to get them vented here. This is not the place for that, all right? Okay, so going back to what I was saying. So what happened is that Canelo, his game plan obviously was to slow down Amir Khan, and the only way he knew how to do it was to go to the body. That's his game plan. Go to the body, slow down Amir Khan. He knows Amir Khan can get knocked out. He thinks he has the power for it because he's the bigger dude. But the only way he's going to do that is get to Amir Khan. So he tries to use the jab to the body. He tries to use shots to the body. Amir Khan, on the other hand, he's trying to stay on the outside and come into the pocket and throw his shots against Canelo. All right? So in that case, you can see what the both game plans are. Now, as in typical Amir Khan's fashion, Amir Khan, because of his speed and his quickness, is getting to Canelo and landing some shots. Amir Khan's not trying to go to the body so much as he's trying to go to the head, whereas Canelo is trying to ease in, inch his way in, and then go to the body. Hold on a second, people. I may have to mute this person because I don't know what on earth they're talking about. It has nothing to do with this discussion right now. You have 2 chances, my friend, to finish what you're saying. But if you're just a fangirl of Deontay Wilder, this is what it seems to be. Let me entertain this discussion so you guys can hear. He says you're lying on Wilder's name, which I don't know why he's saying that. You're tarnishing his reputation, man. You have an agenda against Wilder and the LDVC. I don't know where he's coming with that. You're such a fangirl, man. And I'm like, okay, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about. First of all, this has nothing to do with this channel and what we're talking about. I am a Deontay Wilder fan, and just up to recently there, I enjoyed saying good things about him. So I don't know what you're talking about, but if you're here because you're passionate about Deontay Wilder, then you can continue to be that way. But as for me, I am going to continue talking about boxing. If you want to go out there and talk nonsense, then go ahead and talk nonsense. But on this channel, I'm gonna give you 2 more chances to talk about this particular topic we're talking about. You're free to express yourself, but if you're going to be disrespectful, if you're going to talk about something that has nothing to do with this, then maybe you should go somewhere else. All right. You're going a Paul's channel Sunday, man. We will debate. I don't even know what you're talking about, my friend, and I'm not debating on Paul's channel. I don't know who Paul is. You're probably just rolling up in here and deciding to make an argument with somebody and think that I'm just going to debate with you. It's not going to happen, okay? You're lying about Khan. You're disrespecting the sweet science, dude. Okay, so we're going to go on with what we're saying. So you're saying I'm lying about Khan. Then what's your view on Khan? Because I'm not finished talking. All right? So if your view is that Khan was outboxing Canelo, that's your view. The thing is, the fact of the matter is, my friend, that Amir Khan lost that fight. He got knocked out cold. So how has Canelo all of a sudden become lucky and start knocking out Khan? Did he just get a lucky punch? Was he just lucky? No. So we're going on with Amir Khan versus Canelo. So Amir Khan, as you do know, he proceeds to implement his game plan against Canelo, and Canelo's implementing his game plan. Now, as the fight continues, because Canelo is able to find range, land his body shots, we can see that Khan is starting to slow down. All right? And Canelo's landing shots to the body. And as round by round goes, Khan is slowing down more and more. Canelo's having more success going to the body. And at the point of stoppage, Canelo feints to the body, goes over the top with the right hand, which clocks Khan because Khan starts to get conditioned to try and protect his body from Canelo's right hands. And Khan gets knocked out. So, a lot of people say, well, Amir Khan was outboxing Canelo. And the result was he lost. Canelo catered for, and Amir Khan even acknowledged that Canelo's a smart fighter. He catered for a faster guy. He catered for a guy that might hit him. He knew he had to do work to slow the guy down so that he could finally stop him, right? Which is what he was going for, the KO, obviously. And he set it up beautifully. If you don't understand the game plan of fighters, just shut up and watch and observe what they're doing in the ring. And you'll understand what the game plan of one fighter is and the game plan of another fighter is. Let's go to another one. Artur Beterbiev versus Alexander Dvorak. In that fight, Alexander Dvorak was again popping that jab around Artur Beterbiev. Some punches caught, some not. But Artur Beterbiev's game plan was a little bit different to Dvorak's game plan. Beterbiev decided he was going to rough up Dvorak once he got on the inside. He's going to rough him up physically, let him feel his strength, apparently BWF and Vorzdek had faced each other in the amateurs, and BWF had won every single fight that he faced with Vorzdek. So you could see that BWF, once again, he's engaging Vorzdek in imposing his physical strength on him. He has decent defensive skills, can take some of Vorzdek's punches. And so Vorzdek, though he's boxing around BWF, boxing him, in fact, the game plan that is actually working better, because Vorzdek's game plan is similar to Amir Khan, tag him up, try and wear him down. But Vorzdek's plan, which is not to stay in front of BWF, but to pivot around him all the time, does not succeed because BWF keeps on wearing down Vorzdek. But how does he wear him down mostly? He wears them mostly once they get in a clinch, he really starts to impose his physical size and strength on him. That's how he slowed down Vorzdek. Wasn't so much into body shots, even though that's what he was looking for, because he couldn't really find Vorzdek that easily. But once they got in the clinch, once Vorzdek wanted to take a break, that's when he would impose his physical size and strength, rough him up, punch him, rabbit punch him, that kind of thing. So once you understand the game plan of both fighters, then it's easier to understand what is really going on in the fight. Let's look at, for example, again, Canelo versus Sergey Kovalev. And Canelo versus Sergey Kovalev, Canelo this time applies pressure. It's called smart pressure on Kovalev. In this case, Kovalev cannot counter with his right hand. Again, Kovalev is trying to box Canelo, find openings, land that right hand, right? Got a great jab, so he's popping the jab. But what is Canelo doing to Kovalev? He knows the game plan is this. He knows Kovalev tires from the 8th to the 10th round. Canelo is not going to waste his energy throwing punches at Kovalev that don't count. So Canelo is walking to Kovalev with the high guard, punishing him for throwing the right hand and popping him every now and then with it when he tries to pop his jab. In the meantime, he's putting sufficient pressure on Kovalev to make him pop the jab more than he often does. So Kovalev is burning up a lot of energy, and he's also being a bit anxious because he constantly feels that Canelo's going to throw a left hook to his body or to his head. So he's trying to protect that while he's popping that jab, and he's burning out all his energy. So Canelo's game plan is to make Kovalev burn more energy than normal, make him more active than he normally is, and also, most importantly, to get him into a mental state where he's constantly anxious about what Canelo's going to do next. See, he made Kovalev not think about Kovalev's game, but Canelo's game. And it didn't hurt that Kovalev had just fought a tough fight not too long before. So Canelo versus Kovalev is another one where you're looking at the game plan of Canelo. What's he doing? He's more poised, more composed. But once Kovalev makes a mistake to throw the right hand or sometimes throw the left, he will counter him and counter him sharply and hard. And that's what Canelo did, and that's how he wore down Sergey Kovalev. And Kovalev, on the other hand, did a really good job pivoting Kovalev. In a situation like that, I'd also feint the jab. I'd also take a step, try to walk away, circle Canelo sometimes. I wouldn't be popping the jab as regularly. I'd try to get him to not anticipate the jab and the rhythm at which I was going. That was the problem that Kovalev mostly had against Canelo. He also didn't change direction to make Canelo have to go find him. And he engaged Canelo too much. Sometimes he should have gone way out into the ropes, pull Canelo to him so he could counter Canelo. So there's all these little things that he could have done that would have helped him greatly in a fight with Canelo. But and maybe it would have helped him to conserve his energy a little bit better. But I know he was very conscious of getting hit to the body, and I think that brought up a certain degree of anxiety as the rounds went along. Okay, we have a live chat here. Okay, I think this guy's just trolling. Yeah. I'm still going to read it because expression is a good thing. Cal Blundell says, you're disrespecting the sweet science dude, which, again, we're just going to ignore that. That's an empty comment. Cal Blundell says, "Can you give Craig his shoes back as well?" See, this guy's just trolling. You took them from Simon's Barbecue. Where they are, man. So he's just trolling. Because I don't know none of those people. Cal Blundell says, Canelo pops dirty consistently. Okay. And then Cal Blundell says, anyone who thinks otherwise is disrespecting the suicide. So this guy is just trolling. He's just a troll. And I didn't pay him no mind, but I said I was going to read this stuff anyway. And he's just trolling. All right, going back to what I was saying. So what we find is that game plan helps you to understand what's happening. If you're not following the game plan, what boxers are successful doing, you will see it. You will see when a boxer lands a really good punch. You'll see when a boxer is really using his defense properly. You can see what the game plan for boxers are by watching these things, right? Their defense, their game plan. That helps you to understand their offense. It helps you to understand what they're actually doing in the ring. And you can know when a boxer is on the defensive and he's really not trying to get hit and he's afraid to engage. You can tell the different things from the body language, right? So I wanted people to understand that even though a boxer may not be as skilled as another boxer or may not be able to do certain things that the other boxer can do, what you got to watch at in fights is the game plan of boxers. And once you watch the game plan of boxers, it works very well for you to understand how a fight is actually going and who's really truly winning the fight. Because some guys can be piling on points and they can be piling on points and that seems as if they're winning the fight, but they're not winning the fight. The other guy's game plan may be the more effective thing, so that when you see the guy KO the guy or drop him a couple times, then you realize, oh, this boxer was working on this game plan. So it's important to put things in context. So Amir Khan was never winning the fight against Canelo. Canelo was always the effective fighter in that fight. And this is why we don't just depend on punches thrown or punches landed. That a guy's outpointing another guy. We also have to look at the power in the punches, and that could tell who's more effective throwing the punches. This is why when at the end of the round, they try to replay some of the signature punches of the round, and that determines who wins the round. So these are very important things for people to understand. I hope that as what you need, you guys enjoyed this video. At least one person tried to engage me. They were trolling, but then they tried to engage me and say their piece. And of course, I let them say their piece on this program. So I'm going to catch you guys later. I have another video I'm coming with in a minute. So I'm going to catch you guys later. Back with another one on what you need. Peace.